services from the public cloud.
Okay, now let's have a look at if you are planning for a cloud computing, what all parameters, things that you need to look at it. This shows a reference architecture of cloud computing, wherein if you see there are basically three different kinds of communities or groups. Obviously, the cloud service provider being the core, and on one side it's cloud service developer, and on the other side the cloud service consumer. And as mentioned by Deepa, we have all the service models like SaaS, PaaS and IaaS as the services. Now, and for all these services, we need to really consider a virtualized environment, whether it's storage, servers, or network. And when the cloud service providers tries to implement any service, they really need to ensure the compliance, the security, the quality, and the performance of those services before implementing it on the cloud environment. And before the cloud service consumer can actually consume those services, there could be another layer of APIs through which they would actually avail those services. Now, either depending on the deployment model, either they can access the services via VPN network, or it could be an enterprise network. And moving forward, irrespective of the delivery channel, whether it's laptop, desktops, kiosks, or any mobile devices. So this is a typical reference architecture. I'm not getting into a deep dive into it. Moving on to my next slide. Let us look at the infrastructure and the environmental components for a cloud computing. First one is the security. It's evident to measure the risk related to data integrity and security in the cloud environment. Enterprise needs to follow the regulatory compliance through timely audits and locate the data in order to ensure the privacy and authenticity. As data is very sensitive, proper access control and encryption is highly required in a cloud environment. And also a proper strategy and plan to backup and recovery of data should be in place. Next is the server component. Based on the adopted cloud model, whether it is private, public, or hybrid, location and management in regards to hardware become very important, whether it would be owned by the enterprise or whether it would be owned by the service provider. That's very, very important. In any cloud model, a proper hardware sizing and capacity planning for every server should be done so as to provide a high availability and scalability. Because this is typically a very important and complex exercise of sizing and capacity planning. So that's very vital and important. Enterprises opting for private cloud may reutilize their existing servers if they want with virtualization technology to build their own cloud environment. Next is the storage component. As with servers, consumer-owned storage infrastructure is not a requirement when using a public cloud. But yes, for a private cloud, users will contribute storage to the overall solution and can choose from a number of different types based on their actual need. Storage like NFS, NAS, and many more be a part of users' cloud infrastructure. So storage virtualization may be used in the cloud infrastructure as well. Next is the network, which provides the connectivity backbone for the cloud solutions. Regardless of whether a user is pursuing a public or private cloud, the networking infrastructure could be a part of the solution. Many public clouds allow for creation of virtual private networks that securely communicate with the user home network. But for building private clouds, their networking infrastructure provides the connectivity backbone. Regarding application and data, applications must be thoroughly analyzed before moving on to the cloud-based environment, as those must be able to run in the virtualized container, and their components can independently scale in elastic cloud environments. Similarly, in case of data, migration, connectivity, version, storage capacities must also be considered before moving on to the cloud. Secured access channels are required to establish between application and the data in case of hybrid model. That is, your application may be on the public cloud and your data may be on the private cloud. So that's where you need to ensure a secured access channel. But you need to ensure all legal and regulatory compliance to be properly met before moving to a cloud environment, especially for the public cloud. Next is automation. Automation plays a critical role in realizing the full value of cloud computing. Customers' existing automation systems should be examined thoroughly to determine if it is possible to use them in conjunction with the new cloud computing environment. Last one is virtualization, wherein the computer resources are dynamically and automatically provisioned as demand varies. In virtualization, existing virtualization technologies used by the customer should be identified and evaluated to determine if they will integrate with the new cloud computing environment. This is very, very important. If the cloud migrate means new virtualization technologies will be used, existing infrastructure and application should be tested with this technology. Otherwise, your applications may not work in a desired manner. So these are some of the key infrastructure and environmental components that you need to be assured about. Moving on to my next